power is everywhere. It's not just in politics or business, but in every single conversation we have, every decision we make, and every relationship we hold. Some people spend their entire lives chasing it, others avoid it. But the truth is that power is always shaping the world around us, whether we see it or not. In 1998, Robert Greene released a book that completely changed how people thought about power, The 48 Laws of Power. Some hailed it as a manual for success. Others condemned it as a handbook for manipulation. But no matter what side you were on, it became one of the most controversial and influential books of its time. Today, we're breaking down 10 of the most important laws, exploring what they mean, why they matter, and how they still apply to our lives right now. The first law teaches us a simple but dangerous truth: never outshine the master. History is full of people who rose too fast, shined too bright, and ended up crushed. Imagine your boss is giving an important presentation. They stumble, and you correct them in front of everyone, making them look foolish. The audience claps, and for a moment, you look like the hero. But later, your boss doesn't remember your good deed. They only remember the humiliation. You've turned from loyal employee into a threat. The lesson here is clear. Grow, but carefully, and shine, but never so bright that you blind those who have power over you. Because once someone feels threatened, your rise may be cut short. Power is a game of strategy, and strategy means never revealing your entire hand. That's the lesson from Law 3. Conceal your intentions. Life is like chess. If your opponent knows every move you plan to make, you've already lost. By hiding your true intentions, you create mystery, and mystery creates power. When people don't know exactly what you're up to, they can't interfere and they can't control you. But here's the danger. Being too secretive can breed distrust. If you hide too much, people may grow suspicious and isolate you. So the real challenge lies in knowing when to reveal just enough to earn trust, while still keeping the deeper plan safely hidden away. Law 6. Court attention at all costs. What people cannot see does not matter. If you want influence, if you want to make an impact, you must be visible. History and culture are filled with people who understood this law perfectly. Artists, politicians, and celebrities who shocked the world simply to make sure their names stayed in people's minds. Think of Lady Gaga's infamous meat dress. It wasn't about fashion, it was about visibility. Attention opens doors, it creates opportunities, and it keeps you relevant. But here's the warning. Chase attention too hard and too often, and you risk becoming a clown. Someone who is known, but not respected. The balance lies in being seen, but also in giving people something real and meaningful to remember you for. Law 15. Crush your enemy totally. This is one of the most brutal laws, and it states that if you decide to fight, you must ensure your enemy cannot rise again. Julius Caesar famously forgave his enemies, showing mercy, but those same men later stabbed him to death in the Senate. A half-defeated enemy is still an enemy, and if left standing, they will remember the wound and wait for the chance to strike back. But this law raises a difficult question. Is it always better to destroy, or can it sometimes be more powerful to convert? History shows both sides. Crushing your enemies removes threats, but turning an enemy into an ally can sometimes create even greater victories. Law 33. Discover each man's thumbscrew. Everyone has a weakness, a desire, a fear, or a secret pressure point. Find it, and you gain control. For some, it's the need for respect. For others, it's attention, love, or the fear of failure. When you understand these weaknesses, you can predict their actions and influence their choices. But this law is dangerous because it takes empathy, the ability to see into someone's heart, and turns it into a weapon. The real debate is whether you use that knowledge to manipulate people for your own gain, or to guide and support them in ways that still serve both sides. Law 34. Be royal in your own fashion. This law is about presence and confidence. If you act like a king, you will be treated like one. The way you carry yourself changes how others see you. Walk into a room timid and unsure, and people will ignore you. Walk in calm, strong, and assured, and people take notice. Confidence creates respect, and often the respect comes before the actual success. But there's a line between confidence and arrogance, and if you cross it, respect turns into resentment. The key is balance. Confidence earns you power, but humility keeps it. Law 40. Despise the free lunch. Nothing in life is truly free. A gift today can become a chain tomorrow. A favor can turn into control. And suddenly, you find yourself trapped by someone else's generosity. By paying your own way, you keep your independence, and independence is freedom. But here's the twist. Not every act of kindness is a trap. Sometimes, generosity is genuine, and rejecting every gift can make you seem cold and paranoid. The wisdom of this law is simple. Accept love, but always question hooks. Law 45. Preach change, but slowly. People fear sudden change. Push too hard, too fast, and they resist. Imagine a new boss who rewrites every single rule on their first day. Panic spreads instantly. Real, lasting change usually works best when it's gradual, step by step, allowing people to adjust. But history also shows moments where change couldn't wait. Civil rights movements, independence struggles, revolutions. If leaders had moved slowly in those cases, nothing would have changed at all. So this law isn't absolute. It's a tool, but sometimes breaking it is the only way forward. Law 46. Never appear too perfect. Perfection is dangerous because it breeds envy. That coworker who always succeeds? At first you admire them, but soon resentment begins to grow, and people secretly hope to see them fall. This law suggests showing a crack, a mistake, or a flaw once in a while, because it makes you more human and more relatable. But here's the dilemma. Should you really dim your light just to protect other people's egos? Perhaps the better path is to shine brightly, but stay humble enough that your light doesn't burn others in the process. Law 48. Assume formlessness. The final law says, be like water. Water has no shape, but it adapts, and that's why it survives. Businesses that adapt thrive. Blockbuster clung to DVDs, while Netflix embraced streaming. One died, the other conquered. Life constantly changes, and those who can't adapt are left behind. But here's the risk. If you change too often, too quickly, do you eventually lose yourself? The real lesson is to remain flexible and resilient, ready to adapt when the world demands it, but never to lose your core identity in the process. Remember, power is like fire. It can light the path forward, or it can burn everything down. The choice, as always, is yours.